Casey.
What's up?
Hey. So let me see if I can get today right. I've been doing pretty good lately.
Yeah, you have. Last week was excellent.
Right. So today what we have is Moses gets pissed off at Miriam and causes God to give her leprosy, primarily for being a woman. But God doesn't do anything to, who is it, Jacob? And then this
Aaron.
is
Aaron.
Aaron? Oh, it's okay. My bad, Aaron. I got the wrong name. Damn. So Aaron, he doesn't have anything wrong with him, and the reason why is because they started mouthing his new wife, and they didn't like the whole idea of him taking on a new wife. We don't know what happened to the other one. It's probably some kind of Bitcoin, I don't know, assassination thing, and his new wife, she's a descendant of Jared Kushner. And so that's the reason why they are not pleased with that motherfucker. And then they send out spies to tell everybody, hey, this area over here, shit. God don't like that none. So he has the spies killed, and then he's pissed off at the Jews again. And then, of course, Moses has to lay the logic smack down on the all-powerful and all-knowable God, which, honestly, I don't even understand that particular fucking talking point right there. I mean, that's a little fucking confusing if you ask me. I don't know why Moses has to lay down the logic smack on God, but anyways. And then God gets pissed off at them and declares they'll never see milk and honey again.
Honey, that was dreadful.
Well, it was dreadful. I didn't
dreadful.
do too well. I thought that I was a little close to it.
You wouldn't just start at the beginning.
Well, I'll let you take it here in a second.
Okay.
What's up, heathens?
Hi, y'all.
Hey, today we're kind of talking about what I let in. Actually, that's exactly what we're talking about.
We're not talking about Bitcoin or Jared Kushner.
We might be.
We're not.
You don't know.
I do.
Well,
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll let you lead the Bible study since you know all the things.
Okay. So today we're starting off with Numbers chapter 12, and like GE said at the beginning, Moses does have a new wife, but she's not a descendant of Jared Kushner. She is actually a descendant of dark-skinned peoples, which is perhaps why they're a little perturbed about it.
Oh, what's her name?
I don't know. She's a Kushite.
Oh, see, that's how I got confused. Kushite. I mean, if Jared Kushner had a tribe of Israel, I'm fairly certain he would call them the Kushites. It just seems like something he'd do.
Well, so Moses' sister Miriam, now remember, Miriam is the one who saved him all the way back in Egypt when he was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
She's the one who put him in the basket in the water.
Yeah, she was kind of integral to the whole, here you go. They're killing all the little baby Jews, but you're going to live.
Yeah, so that's Miriam. So Miriam and Aaron get together and they talk about Moses because of his Kushite wife.
Those damn Kushites. Always collaborating with the damn Ruskies.
Well, so they said, has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Hasn't he also spoken through us? And I don't know why this is so horrible, but that is legit what they said, and God heard it and was pissed.
Who the fuck are you saying's talking to who? Oh, let me get out my foot and give you leprosy.
You're getting ahead. Quit spoiling.
Leprosy is the favored thing at this time. Everybody mentions it. They've even got a whole cleansing ritual in case you get it, which includes putting blood on your dick. So, leprosy is kind of the way to go with any of this shit.
So I have a question. Can women never be cured of leprosy? Because Miriam doesn't have a dick, that we know of.
Well, no, you see, it's like if it's a whole body thing, you just put blood on your entire body kind of deal.
Oh, okay.
But if it's specifically dick or leprosy dick, then that's where you put the blood.
You put the blood where the leprosy is.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. There's probably some cleansing property in the deoxyribonucleic acid, I know, big words for me, right?
Right. Okay, so Moses is a really humble man, apparently. And
I like that. Apparently. Because up until this point, he really hasn't given us that kind of fucking indication.
No, but according to Numbers chapter 12, Moses is more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. This passage reminds me of Donald Trump. Maybe he read this part and was like, that's how I'm going to be. I'm going to be the most humble man on the face of the earth.
I'm going to be historic. It's going to be beautiful and magnificent. And we're going to build a wall around the Israelites so that none of them can escape. I mean, so that it will protect us.
God calls Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to the tent of the meeting. So they went out, and the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud, like he normally does, and stood at the entrance of the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. When they both stepped forward, he said, "Listen to my words. When a prophet of the Lord is among you, I reveal myself to him in visions. I speak to him in dreams. But this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?" So I think this is interesting because he admits he speaks to people in fucking riddles.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah.
Not Moses, but everybody else.
Well, true. But I mean, that's also, shown in the New Testament, because even then Jesus talks about how, to his followers, you will know the real truth, but everybody outside, it'll just be parables. And it's the exact same thing here. God, speaking to Moses, he hears him clearly, but everybody else, they just seem like fucking riddles. It's like Riddler in 2500 BC. Leaving his little question marks around everywhere. It's like, God damn it, we don't have time to play your shit.
Well, yeah. So in this little thing, God is a little bit cryptic. He just says, you should have been afraid to speak against Moses. Why weren't you? Which, speaking against Moses, this is really mild. They're simply asking that if the Lord has not spoken through other people as well. What makes Moses special, I guess, is what they're trying to get at. Well, so the anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. When the cloud lifted from above the tent, there stood Miriam, leprous like snow.
Wait, leprous like snow?
I don't know. Does leprosy make you?
Well, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it does. Of course, leprosy is where you've
got like boils.
Tendons. Well, no, it's like where I can't remember exactly, but it's like your tendons are starting to rot. Like there's a bacteria. It's actually a bacteria that eats away at like your tendons and stuff and shit that like keeps your nub on.
I can't.
What?
But don't you get like boils? Is that not leprosy?
Well, yeah, it looks like bumps on skin, granulomas, apparently chronic, curable infectious disease, mainly causing skin lesions and nerve damage. Yeah, it's because it's a bacteria that's actually eating away, and it causes that shit to happen. It's very curable, and apparently it's only confined.
Oh my God.
Apparently it's only confined to tropical Asia and shit.
I am never going to Asia. Okay, so the reason I reacted this way is because John pulled up Google images of leprosy. Do or don't at your own risk. It is really vile.
I still don't know what they mean by like snow.
Most of them have nubs.
Yeah, they do. And it's not just the one. Oh, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. That
doesn't look right. That looks like that other skin disease thing. But...
fuck. Okay. Anyway, sorry. You guys can't really see what we're checking out here, which maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, it's really repulsive.
Anyways,
really
so it's a bacteria, and I don't know why. Like snow, maybe like her shit's falling off of her. Like it's like all dandruffy, except it's her skin. I don't know.
The Hebrew word, the the Hebrew word for leprosy was used for various diseases affecting the skin, so it doesn't necessarily mean actual leprosy, right? It could mean any other skin type disease. So anyway, Aaron turned toward her and saw that she had leprosy, and he said to Moses, "Please, my Lord, do not hold against us the sin we have so foolishly committed. Do not let her be like a stillborn infant coming from its mother's womb with its flesh half eaten away." So Moses cried out to the Lord, "Oh God, please heal her." The Lord replied to Moses, "If her father had spit in her face, would she not have been a disgrace for 7 days?" What?
Can you imagine like accidentally sneezing on your daughter and it's like, "Oh, sorry, you're disgraced now for 7 fucking days.
Get the fuck out.
Get in the house, cover yourself up like you're a Muslim."
Well, Muslims didn't exist at this time.
Well, God, neither did Jared Kushner, but, we see how that's working out for us.
No, the only person who sees how that's working out is you.
Okay.
No one else understands where that comes from. If you understand where that comes from, explain it to me in the comments, please. Okay, so God basically tells them, confine her outside of the camp for 7 days, and then she can be brought back. So she's basically going to be leprous for 7 days, live outside the camp. That's her punishment. She's going to come back, and the Israelites stay encamped there for that entire time because she had to be a bitch.
This is what you get for being a bitch, okay? Remember, what'd you learn? Don't
be a bitch. Don't talk about people behind their back. That's what she learned. Okay, so now we're going to change pace a little bit here. The Israelite people are in the desert, and they're basically preparing themselves to enter the land of milk and honey, right? The land that was promised to them, to their ancestors. So they kind of want to get a little more information about where they're going. Well, Moses does. He thinks it's important because it's not like there's nobody there. It's not like there's not already people in the land that was promised to them. So what do you do about the people? Do you just go in and take it from them? And so these are questions they want to try to get answered. So Moses sends 12 spies, 1 spy from each of the tribe, out to find out information. So basically what he tells them is go up through the Negev and on into the hill country, see what the land is like and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. What kind of land do they live in? Is it good or bad? What kind of towns do they live in? Are they unwalled or fortified? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there trees on it or not? Do your best to bring back some of the fruit of the land. And apparently it's important to note that it was the season for the first ripe grapes. So that's, useful information to have.
Yeah, it's definitely giving us an exact time period. I could tell you the month and day.
So the spies go out and explore the land. Now, they're gone for 40 days, which 40 is an interesting number. We're going to see it a few different times today, but it's also seen 146 times throughout the scripture. And the number 40, basically within biblical scripture, represents times of test, trial, and tribulation. It's an extended period of time in which people are tried and tested, essentially.
Right, and to put this in relevance with the New Testament and also other parts of the Old Testament, of course, Noah, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. We know now that 40 days and 40 nights is not a way to actually cover the earth with water, not to mention the fact that there wasn't enough water here to begin with. But also Jesus spends 40 days and nights in a desert in which he is tempted by the devil and all this other stuff. So, you could see the common theme with the use of the 40 number. So, yeah.
It's also a movie.
40 days and 40 nights, yes.
About not fucking.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but he makes it through it. However, I don't know.
No, he doesn't make it through it well. He's mentally ill by the time it's over.
Yeah.
Anyway, so at the end of 40 days, the spies return from exploring the land. Oh, they picked some grapes, some pomegranate and figs, and they brought them back. I don't know how after 40 days, grapes. It obviously wouldn't be 40 whole days, but unless they picked them like the week before they came back, none of that shit would be good. But anyway, I digress. So at the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. They came back and talked to the whole Israelite community about the desert. They reported to them that and gave them the fruit of the land and told them, we went into the land which you sent us. It does flow with milk and honey. Here is the fruit. But the people who live there are powerful and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. And if you don't recall, those are the Nephilim, which are like part human, part angel, right?
Yeah.
And they're giants. They're big. They're huge. So they report that there are Nephilim there. And then tells them the Amalekites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, and Amorites all live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan.
They're hill people.
Yeah, they're hill people.
Stay away from them, son. They's hill people.
Well, so these, the spies are telling stories to the Israelites. Well, Caleb and Joshua, who are the representatives from the tribes of Judah and Ephraim. Wait, hold on. Did I do that right? Ephraim. Sure. Yeah, close enough.
We're just only hitting about 92% accuracy right now. So
Probably not even that. So the men who had gone up with them said, we can't attack those people. They're stronger than we are. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. And they said, the land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw Nephilim there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Well, Joshua and Caleb basically disagreed with them, and they tried to stop all of the murmuring among the Israelite people about how they should have died in Egypt or in the desert, or why did they ever leave? Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to fall by the sword, and our wives and children will be taken as plunder? Shouldn't we just go back to Egypt? Well, so Joshua and Caleb pled with the people because they said that we can take them. We can take this. We have God on our side, like God's on our side, and we can do this. But the people didn't believe them. And so God got really, really pissed. In Numbers chapter 14, the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of the meeting to all the Israelites.
Oh, the glory of the Lord.
I know.
Everybody, you know what that means.
Yeah.
It's his big dick.
How long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me in spite of all the miraculous signs I have performed among them? I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them, but I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they. And he was talking to Moses at this time. So he wants to kill everybody again.
Of course he wants to kill everybody again. That's the only way this childish God knows how to react, by throwing a fit and killing people.
Yeah, he's kind of a bitch. So Moses said to the Lord, then the Egyptians will hear about him killing everybody. By your power, you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it, that they have already heard that you, O Lord, are with these people, and that you, O Lord, have been seen face to face, that your cloud stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud day and a pillar of fire by night. If you put these people to death all at one time, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, the Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on an oath, so he slaughtered them in the desert. Now may the Lord's strength be displayed, just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children for the sin of the fathers, and to the third and fourth generation, in accordance with your great love. Forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them from the time they left Egypt until now. So basically it's like, oh, you might not want to kill all these people, because then other people are going to see that you killed all of your protected people, and no one is going to follow you ever again.
Right. So, this is the whole logic smackdown that I was talking about. For one thing, you had Abraham ages ago that was laying the logic smackdown with God about Sodom and Gomorrah. Mm-hmm. Now you got Moses laying the exact, not the exact same one, because it's different, but it's still kind of the same premise, mm-hmm. And so I find it funny how God is this all-knowing being, and even in his book, he has his underlings like convincing him not to go off the rails. And God, maybe you should calm down, and have a beer for a second, okay? You're not thinking this shit through, okay? Let's just sit down and talk it out for a minute, all right? Over some whiskey or something. I don't know. Let's go down to the teddy bar.
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting that even here they're talking about God being slow to anger, rich in kindness and love and forgiveness. Yet he killed 2 of Aaron's sons in fire because they used the wrong kind of fire.
God is slow to anger, except when you fuck with his fire.
Or anything else. Like, he's pissed now and wants to kill them and told Moses, I'm going to kill everybody and I'll just make a new nation with your kids. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that anybody could sit and believe that this is a loving, forgiving, kind, merciful God. It's insanity. It's clearly not that way. He's clearly not that person.
Well, no. I mean, has anything in the Bible yet given you that indication?
No. But then we go on to the next part, and God replies to Moses' request and says, I have forgiven them as you asked. Oh, okay. Nevertheless, as surely as I live and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of the men who saw my glory and the miraculous signs I performed in Egypt and in the desert, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on oath to their forefathers. Not one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it. But because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Since the Amalekites and Canaanites are living in the valleys, turn back tomorrow and set out toward the desert along the route to the Red Sea. So, they're basically he's going to punish them, the Israelites. And as Moses said, God can't just kill them all at once, right? So this is going to be a long, drawn out process. And he's just going to basically wait for them all to die. Because God has no timeline, right?
I mean, this just seems really sadistic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I can't kill them all at once. Fucking Moses ruined my fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch them die slowly.
Yeah, one at a time in the desert. So this here starts the 40 years of wandering in the desert. And they use the 40 again, basically 40 years as a time of trial and testing, but also to denote a generation. Basically, he's waiting on all of the people that were counted in the census, 20 or older, remember, to die. And once all of those people are dead, with the exception of Caleb and Joshua, because they said, yay, God, we can do it.
Yay, God, he's our man. He's our man. Please don't kill me.
So, yeah, they can make it, but every single other of the 650 some odd thousand men will die and never make it to the promised land.
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like God here is being a bit too far reaching with it. I mean, he's condemning like 660 some odd thousand people.
Yeah.
For what again? Just being a little bitchy?
Well, no, for basically not believing that he would be with them and give them the land he promised them. They were scared because there were Nephilim and large populations and fortified cities and all these other things, and they thought we're no match against that. But they have God on their side, so they should not have questioned, according to God and Moses and whoever other crazy person is there. They should not have questioned. They should have trusted that God was going to help them, and that the land would have swallowed the other people whole who apparently don't belong there, even though they've built civilization there.
Yeah. Well, now, just to, revert back to what I was saying, what you just described is exactly bitching.
yeah.
Yeah, they were bitching to God about how, now listen, God, we don't know if you're gonna fucking protect us from these giant angel fucks. We don't know if they're either giant rocks or some other kind of giant things. I mean, we don't know which movie to watch as far as to know what the fuck's going on here. And so, I mean, yeah, they are bitching about, their, I guess, God being able to protect them, and they have all these worries. I would also like to point out here that this is a running theme in the Old Testament. It goes all the way back to when God butt-fucked, Israel in the desert and gave him the new name of Israel. Because
Israel butt-fucked God. We do this every time.
Israel butt-fucked God, God butt-fucked Israel. It was all night long. They probably swapped a few times.
Okay, fair enough.
More than just positions. It goes all the way back to then, okay? Because, the whole wrestling with God thing, if you think about it, there's been like a constant wrestle with this God, throughout the Jews' lives up until this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's still a whole lot of wrestling to go on because there's a lot of shit that goes on after this as well. And so, I mean, that I would say that that's probably one of the biggest themes in the Old Testament. And that would be like wrestling with this faith in God.
I agree.
And it is supposed to teach, the Jews and the Christians about how you're not supposed to question God. But I mean, that is a very dangerous precedence to set.
Well, it also establishes the whole idea that even the most holy of people struggle. People struggle with their faith. Faith is going to be a struggle. I get it. I understand you. Other people have struggled in the past too, and they've overcome. Or I've killed them. One of the two depends on my mood that day. The men that Moses sent to explore the land, the spies, while God decided to forgive the Israelites-ish, forgive yet punish still, the spies, they have to die. Because they're the ones that spread the fear and the distrust in God throughout the whole community. Because they were the ones who said, we can't beat these people. We can't take this. We're going to die. Except for Caleb and Joshua.
Okay. So basically God's like, now listen, you told these people the truth about the outside world. Now you gotta fucking die, motherfucker. They can't know that shit.
Yeah. So he struck them all down with the plague. I feel like plague is used as a general term, kind of like how they were saying earlier, leprosy is used as a general term for a multitude of different skin diseases or conditions. I feel like plague is used in a similar way.
Probably. Like, can you just imagine like them just walking along and then all of a sudden they get struck? Plague. I don't know. Like maybe they get a couple necrotic spots on their skin or something like that just like appears weirdly. But I mean, of course, it seems like God took his dick out and smacked him in the face with it, and then they've got fucking plague. So stay away from that shit, guys. His glory is not so glorious.
Yeah. So Moses reported that all the spies died, with the exception of the two, to the Israelites, and they mourned bitterly. They were really upset. And
yeah, I'd be bitter too. It's like, wait, they came in here and told us about the outside world, and you fucking killed them?
Yeah. Yeah, so they were pissed. So early the next morning, they went up toward the high hill country, and they said, we have sinned. We will go up to the place the Lord promised. So they're going anyway. Even though God says you can't go to the land of milk and honey, they are going.
Oh, so the land of milk and honey, not that they will never see milk and honey again.
Yes, the land of milk and honey.
Oh, okay.
The land that they were promised. It's called the land of milk and honey.
I mean,
well, that's how they refer to it.
You need more in your diet than just milk and honey. I mean, who the fuck is he feeding? Like 5-year-old kids?
I don't know.
Can you imagine the look on Xander's face if we just put milk and honey on the table and was like, eat up? Well, that's all you need right there.
Yeah.
Milk, honey. What else you need? We're going to go over here and play some Ghost Recon.
Fish sticks? A Lunchable? Sorry, story time with Casey. Moses freaks out, right? Because the people, I'm sure not all the people, but a lot of people are leaving. and they're going toward the land that God promised them. Well, Moses is like, why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies, for the Amalekites and Canaanites will face you there. Because you have turned away from the Lord, he will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword. Nevertheless, they went up toward the high hill country, though Moses nor the Ark of the Covenant moved from the camp. So some stayed behind, right? But a lot went. And the Amalekites and Canaanites who lived in the hill country came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. So they basically died by the sword.
Well, I mean, that's how they would probably die in general back in that time. Either leprosy, plague, or iron poisoning.
Well, and the rest who were left, remember, were condemned to the desert for 40 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think God maybe gave them like a choice? It's like, listen, you can run over there and you can get stabbed to death, or you can wander for 40 years in this desert over here and you'll die. You'll never see milk and honey again, but God damn it, you will definitely choke on some sand.
I don't think there was a choice. I think it was just they saw that they were going to get killed without God. And so those who survived decided to follow Moses again.
Well, I mean, wouldn't they be able to see the land and honey then?
No, they just went over the hill.
I mean, it's like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry, God. I fucked up. I won't doubt you again. And he's like, nope, still gonna fucking die in that there, desert. Go fuck yourself. I'm outie.
Well, that's all we have for today.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the end of today's passage. So next time, we're going to talk about Moses being taunted, Moses proposing a test, his leadership being challenged by the Israelite people.
Does God's glory fuck them royally?
Oh, yeah, the rebels are fucked up. We also have a section, well, God is ready to punish. A lot of people die of plague, like a lot.
Well, I mean, generally when you're living in very poor conditions, I mean, I would suspect that plague would be one of the things that you got.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was just God was mad, so struck him down.
Okay. Yeah. Couldn't be the whole desert wandering thing for 40 years and anything like that. And No, it's definitely God's glory pissing his plague on them.
Well, I'm not saying this isn't like after the 40 years.
Well, no, I'm saying this during that 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, it happens during the 40 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, he can't kill them all at once, but he can kill them in waves of a fuck ton of a lot of people.
So then we have a section called God Calls for Rods.
I'm going to have fun with that.
Yeah, you are. But only Aaron's rod buds.
Jesus Christ.
So Aaron's the only one who gets a hard on. And because of that,
Aaron was the only one to pop wood.
Yeah. And because of that, his priesthood was assured.
Because it wasn't already? Apparently not.
We're going to talk about it.
All right. Well, I hope you heathens will join us next time when we talk about Aaron's rod budding.
We're also going to talk about tithing.
Tithing. Oh, yes. Tithing again.
Yes, we're going to talk about tithing.
Awesome.
Yep.
So I hope you heathens will join us then. If you will, please hit that subscribe button if you want to get this podcast at a future date.
And smash that like button.
Yeah.
And don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
Bye, heathens.
Bye, y'all.